The stars outside the bridge windows looked peaceful. Captain Jake Morrison stood with his hands behind his back, watching the distant suns shine like diamonds against the black space. The bridge of the UFS Retribution was quiet. Only the soft hum of computers and the gentle beeping of sensors broke the silence. Jake had been commanding this ship for 3 years now. The Retribution was the newest warship in the human fleet. It was also the most dangerous. The other species in the galaxy did not know just how dangerous it really was. "Captain," called Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks from his station, "we're getting an emergency transmission from Federation High Command." Jake turned around. Ryan was a good officer. He had been with Jake since the beginning. His face looked worried. That was never a good sign. "Put it through," Jake said. The main screen flickered to life. Admiral Lisa Carter appeared. She was the highest-ranking human in the Federation fleet. Her gray hair was pulled back tight. Her blue eyes looked tired. Jake had never seen her look so serious. "All human vessels, this is Admiral Carter. We have a situation. The Zephyrian Empire has made their move." Jake felt his stomach drop. The Zephyrians were bad news. They were a warrior race that loved to fight. They had been growing stronger for years. The Federation had been watching them with worry. 3 hours ago, the Zephyrian High Command sent a message to all Federation worlds. They want complete surrender. Every planet, every species. They want us to bow down to them, or they will destroy everything. The bridge crew exchanged worried looks. Jake kept his face calm, but inside he was angry. Very angry. They've already attacked 3 outer colonies. New Geneva, Titan Station, and Kepler 186F are gone. The populations are dead or enslaved. The Zephyrians showed no mercy. Jake closed his eyes for a moment. New Geneva had 2 million people, families, children, all gone. The Federation Council met in emergency session. They voted to negotiate surrender terms. They believe fighting back is hopeless. Jake felt rage building in his chest. The Federation Council was full of cowards. They always chose the easy path. They never wanted to fight. However, Admiral Carter continued, the human delegation has convinced the Council to authorize one special operation. Operation Scorched Earth. Jake's eyes opened wide. He knew that name. Every human military officer knew that name. It was their most secret plan. The plan they hoped they would never need to use. "Captain Morrison, you and the Retribution have been chosen for this mission. You will receive detailed orders in 10 minutes. Admiral Carter out." The screen went dark. The bridge was silent. Jake looked at his crew. They were all humans. All volunteers, all ready to fight. "Sir," Ryan said. Quietly, Operation Scorched Earth. That's the Planet Killer Protocol. Jake nodded. "Yes, it is." Dr. Helen Martinez stepped forward. She was the ship's science officer. She studied alien species and their cultures. "Captain, if we use that protocol, there's no going back. The galaxy will never see us the same way." "Again, the galaxy already sees us as the weak species," Jake replied. "Maybe it's time they learned the truth." Chief Engineer Paul Rodriguez spoke up from his station. "Sir, the Quantum Devastator is ready. We've been testing it for months. It works perfectly." Jake had seen the tests. The weapon could destroy a planet from orbit, not just the surface. The whole planet. It would crack the world apart like an egg. "Communications. Get me the crew channel," Jake ordered. "You're live, Captain," said the communications officer. Jake took a deep breath. He was about to change everything. "This is Captain Morrison speaking to all crew. You've heard the news about the Zephyrian ultimatum. The Federation Council wants to surrender. They think we should give up without a fight." He paused, looking around the bridge at his officers. They were listening carefully. "But we are not the Federation. We are humans. And humans do not surrender. We do not bow down to bullies. We do not let aliens threaten our families and our worlds." Jake's voice grew stronger. "The Zephyrians think they can scare us. They think we are weak. They are wrong. Today, we show them what humans are really capable of." He walked to the center of the bridge. "We have been given a mission. We are going to attack the Zephyrian military planet Kepler 438b. It is their main weapons factory. It builds 60% of their war machines. Over 200 million Zephyrian soldiers and workers live there. The crew was silent. They knew what was coming. We are going to destroy that planet completely. Not just bomb it, not just damage it. We are going to crack it open and turn it into floating rocks. We are going to show the galaxy that humans are not to be messed with. Jake looked at each of his officers. This is a volunteer mission. Anyone who wants to leave can take a shuttle to the nearest Federation base. No one will think less of you. This mission will probably kill us all. No one moved. No one spoke. They were all staying. The other species call us crazy. They call us mad dogs. They say we fight like wild animals. Today we prove them right. Jake turned to his tactical officer. Ryan, brief the crew on our target. Ryan stood up. He activated the main display. A blue and green planet appeared on the screen. It looked beautiful and peaceful. It was not. This is Kepler 438b. It's the heart of the Zephyrian war machine. The planet has 47 orbital defense platforms. Each one can destroy a battleship. There are also 53 military bases on the surface. The planet is protected by the 4th Zephyrian Fleet. That's 47 warships. Ryan pointed to different areas on the planet. The main weapons factories are here, here, and here. They build plasma cannons, missile systems, and armor plating. If we can destroy this planet, we can cripple their entire military. What about their fleet? Asked Dr. Martinez. The 4th Fleet is commanded by war leader Zektar. He's never lost a battle. His ships are bigger than ours. They have more firepower. In a normal fight, we would lose badly, Jake smiled. It was not a nice smile. Good thing we're not planning a normal fight. He turned back to the crew. The Zephyrians fight with honor. They follow rules. They expect their enemies to do the same, but we are humans. We don't fight with honor, we fight to win. Paul Rodriguez raised his hand. Captain, the Quantum Devastator needs 47 seconds to charge and fire. Can we survive that long against their whole fleet? We'll have to, Jake said. Paul, I want you to prepare the reactor for emergency overload. If we're going down, we're taking as many of them with us as possible. Yes, sir? Jake looked around the bridge one more time. These were good people. They had families back home. They had dreams and hopes. But they were willing to die to protect humanity. Communications, send a message to Admiral Carter. Tell her we accept the mission. Tell her we will not fail. Message sent, Captain. Jake sat down in his command chair. Helm, set course for the Kepler system. Maximum speed. Course set, Captain. Estimated arrival in 18 hours. Ryan, I want all weapons ready. Paul, make. Sure, the Quantum Devastator is working perfectly. Helen, I need everything you know about Zephyrian psychology. We need to understand how they think. The crew went to work. The Retribution turned toward its target. In 18 hours, they would arrive at Kepler 438b. They would face impossible odds. Most of them would die, but they would also show the galaxy something important. They would show that humans were not the weak species everyone thought they were. They were the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and anyone who threatened them would pay the ultimate price. Jake looked out at the stars again. Somewhere out there, the Zephyrians were preparing for war. They thought they were the strongest warriors in the galaxy. They were about to learn. How wrong they were. The stars looked peaceful, but that peace was about to end. The UFS Retribution dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Kepler system. The ship shuddered as it returned to normal space. Captain Jake Morrison felt the familiar pull in his stomach that came with the jump. On the main screen, a yellow star appeared. Around it, several planets moved in their orbits. We're here, Captain, announced Lieutenant Amy Foster from the helm station. Kepler 438b is the 3rd planet from the star. Jake stood up from his command chair. Show me. The screen changed. A blue and green world appeared. It looked beautiful from this distance, but Jake knew better. That planet was a factory of death. It built the weapons that would destroy human worlds if they were not stopped. Chief Rodriguez, report on the Quantum Devastator, Jake ordered. Paul Rodriguez looked up from his engineering station. His face was covered in sweat. He had been working on the weapon system for hours. The weapon is ready, Captain. All systems are green. The targeting computer is locked onto the planet's core. Good. How long do we need to charge it? 47 seconds, sir. Once we start the charging sequence, we cannot stop it. The weapon will fire automatically. Jake nodded. 47 seconds was a long time in space combat. The Zephyrian fleet would not sit still and wait for them to fire. Communications, start scanning for enemy transmissions, Jake ordered. Yes, sir, replied the communications officer. I'm picking up a lot of chatter. The Zephyrians know we're here. Dr. Helen Martinez moved to her science station. She began analyzing the signals. Captain, I'm reading 47 Zephyrian warships in orbit around the planet. They're in a defensive formation. 47 ships against one, muttered Ryan Brooks. Those are not good odds. They're not supposed to be good odds, Jake said. If the odds were good, they would have sent someone else. The bridge crew worked. Quietly, everyone knew their job. They had trained for this moment, but training was different from the real thing. This time, if they failed, they would die. Sir, called the communications officer, I'm picking up a transmission from the enemy fleet. It's directed at us. Put it on screen. The main display changed. A large reptilian face appeared. The creature had yellow eyes and sharp teeth. Its skin was covered in green scales. This was War Leader Zektar, commander of the 4th Zephyrian Fleet. Human ship, the alien said in broken English. You are in Zephyrian space. You will surrender immediately or you will be destroyed. Jake looked at the alien commander. He had fought Zephyrians before. They were bigger and stronger than humans. But they were also predictable. They followed rules. They believed in honor. This is Captain Morrison of the UFS Retribution. We reject your demand. We are here to deliver a message. Zektar's eyes narrowed. What message? The message is simple. Humans do not surrender. We do not negotiate with bullies. And we do not forgive those who threaten our families. The alien commander laughed. It was a harsh, ugly sound. One human ship against my entire fleet. You're either very brave or very stupid. Maybe both, Jake replied. But we're here. And we're not leaving until our job is done. Zektar's face grew angry. Your job? What job? Jake smiled. It was a cold smile. We're here to teach you a lesson about humans. Consider this a learning experience. The transmission ended. Zektar's face disappeared from the screen. Well, said Ryan, that went well. He's going to send the messenger ship, Dr. Martinez said. It's their tradition. They always give enemies one last chance to surrender. Jake turned to his weapons officer. Amy, when that messenger ship comes, destroy it immediately. Amy Foster looked surprised. Sir, destroying a messenger ship violates the rules of war. We're not following their rules anymore, Jake said. We're following human rules, and human rules are simple. Kill or be killed. The bridge crew exchanged glances. They were entering dangerous territory. Once they started breaking the rules of war, there was no going back. Contact on sensors, reported the tactical officer. One small ship approaching. It's transmitting. Surrender demands. Fire, Jake ordered. Amy's hands moved across her weapons console. The Retribution's main guns fired. Bright beams of energy crossed space. The messenger ship exploded in a ball of fire. Message sent, Jake said quietly. The communications officer looked pale. Sir, I'm picking up emergency transmissions from the enemy fleet. They're talking about human madness. They're saying we're insane. Good, Jake replied. Fear makes people make mistakes. Dr. Martinez was studying the alien communications. Captain, this is interesting. The Zephyrians have never fought an enemy that refused to follow combat protocols. They don't know how to respond? Jake walked to the center of the bridge. Explain. Their entire military culture is based on honor and rules. They expect their enemies to fight the same way. But we're not going to do that. We're going to fight like humans. How do humans fight? Asked Amy. Dirty, Jake answered. We fight. Dirty, mean, and without mercy. We use every trick we can think of. We break every rule if it helps us win. Paul Rodriguez looked up from his station. Captain, I'm detecting movement from the enemy fleet. They're starting to move toward us. Jake sat back down in his command chair. All hands, this is the captain. Battle stations. This is not a drill. We are about to engage the enemy. Red lights began flashing throughout the ship. The battle alarm sounded. Crew members ran to their positions. The peaceful quiet of the bridge was replaced by the controlled chaos of preparation for war. Ryan, I want you to target their command ship first. If we can kill their leader, the rest might panic. Yes, sir. Targeting the flagship. Amy, prepare for ramming speed. If we can't outfight them, we'll ram them. Amy looked shocked. Ramming speed, sir? You heard me. If we're going to die, we're taking as many of them with us as possible. Dr. Martinez was still studying the alien communications. Captain, they're confused by our behavior. They're trying to figure out our strategy. Tell them our strategy, Jake said. We're going to kill them all. The Zephyrian fleet was getting closer. Jake could see the enemy ships on the long range. Sensors. They were massive vessels, each one bigger than the Retribution. Their weapons were powerful. Their armor was thick. Paul, how are the engines? Jake asked. Running at full power, Captain. I can give you more speed if you need it. I'll need everything you can give me. The enemy fleet was spreading out. They were trying to surround the human ship. It was a classic military tactic. But Jake had no intention of letting them complete their formation. Helm, take us straight at their center, full speed. Sir, that's suicide, Amy protested. Maybe, but it's also unexpected. They won't be ready for it. The Retribution accelerated toward the enemy fleet. The ship shook as the engines pushed it to maximum speed. Jake could feel the power of the ship beneath him. Sir, called the communications officer, I'm picking up panicked transmissions from the enemy. They're saying humans fight like wild animals. They're right, Jake said. We do fight like wild animals. And wild animals are dangerous when they're cornered. The enemy fleet was trying to adjust to the human ship's unexpected charge. Some ships were moving to intercept. Others were trying to get out of the way. The formation was breaking apart. Ryan, fire at will. Hit anything that moves. Yes, sir. The Retribution's weapons opened fire. Beams of energy lanced out toward the enemy ships. Some shots hit their targets, others missed. But the effect was what Jake wanted. The enemy was confused and off balance. Amy, evasive maneuvers. Don't let them get a clear shot at us. The ship twisted and turned through space. The artificial gravity system strained to keep up. Jake felt himself pressed against his chair as the ship changed direction. Captain, Dr. Martinez called out, I'm reading massive energy signatures from the planet. They're powering up their orbital defense platforms. Jake had expected this. The planet's defenses would try to help the fleet, but that also meant the planet was showing its hand. Now he knew where all the weapons were. Paul, can you overload our shields to create an electromagnetic pulse? Paul thought for a moment. Yes, sir. But it will leave us defenseless for about 30 seconds. How big will the pulse be? Big enough to disable their defense platforms, maybe some of their ships too. Jake made his decision. Do it, but time it perfectly. I want that pulse to hit right when we're in position to fire the Quantum Devastator. Yes. Sir, the battle was about to begin in earnest. The Zephyrian fleet was closing in. Their weapons were charging. The orbital defense platforms were coming online, but Jake was not worried. He had something the enemy did not have. He had a crew that was willing to die for their mission. And he had a weapon that could crack open a planet. All hands, prepare. For combat, remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for every human in the galaxy. We're fighting to show them that humans are not to be messed with. The enemy fleet opened fire. The space around the Retribution filled with deadly energy beams. The ship's shields flared as they absorbed the hits. Return fire, Jake ordered. The real battle was about to begin. The space around the UFS Retribution exploded into chaos. Enemy fire came from all directions. The ship's shields flared bright blue as they absorbed the incoming energy beams. The bridge shook with each hit. Shields at 80%, reported Amy Foster from her station. Multiple hits from the enemy fleet. Captain Jake Morrison gripped his command chair. The main screen showed dozens of enemy ships closing in. Each one was bigger than the Retribution. Each one had more firepower, but Jake was not afraid. He had fought worse odds before. Ryan, target their flagship. All weapons. Firing now, sir. The Retribution's main guns fired. 3 bright beams of energy struck the enemy command ship. Its shields sparked and flickered. But the ship was still there, still fighting. Direct hit on the flagship, Ryan reported. Their shields are down to 60%. Good, keep firing. Amy, take us closer to their formation. I want to get inside their firing pattern. Amy looked worried. Sir, if we get too close, we won't be able to dodge their weapons. That's the point. Close-range combat favors the crazy side. And we're definitely the crazy side. The Retribution dove toward the enemy fleet. The ship moved like a fighter instead of a heavy cruiser. It twisted and turned through space. The enemy ships tried to track it, but the human ship was too fast. And too unpredictable. Paul, I need more power to the engines, Jake ordered. You've got it, Captain. But I'm running the reactor at 110%. We can't keep this up forever. We don't need forever. We just need 47 seconds. The enemy fleet was trying to surround the human ship, but Jake had other plans. He was going to punch through their formation and get to the planet. Once. There, he could use the Quantum Devastator. Contact bearing 270, called the tactical officer. 3 enemy ships moving to intercept. Ram the first one, Jake ordered. The bridge crew looked shocked. Amy's hands hesitated over her controls. Sir? Did you say ram? You heard me, full speed. Hit them in the middle. The Retribution accelerated toward the enemy ship. The alien vessel was twice as big as the human ship. Its weapons were firing continuously. But it was not moving fast enough to get out of the way. Impact in 10 seconds, Amy announced. Jake stood up. All hands, brace for impact. The 2 ships collided. The sound was terrible. Metal screamed against metal. The lights on the bridge flickered. Jake was thrown against his chair, but the Retribution kept moving. It had punched through the enemy ship like a bullet through paper. Damage report, Jake called out. Hull breach on decks 5 and 6, reported Paul. But the ship is still fighting. What about the enemy ship? Destroyed, sir. It broke in half. The enemy fleet was in shock. They had never seen anything like this before. No civilized species rammed other ships. It was considered barbaric. Insane. Captain, Dr. Martinez called out. I'm reading panic in their communications. They're calling us madmen. They're not wrong, Jake replied. Ryan, next target. Enemy cruiser at bearing 180? It's damaged from our ramming attack. Finish it. The Retribution's weapons fired again. This time the enemy ship exploded. Pieces of metal and burning gas scattered through space. 2 down, 45 to go, Ryan said, but the enemy was adapting. More ships were moving to intercept the human vessel. The orbital defense platforms around the planet were also firing now. The space around the Retribution was filled with deadly energy beams. Shields at 40%, Amy reported. We're taking heavy damage. Jake looked at the tactical display. The enemy had them surrounded. There were too many ships, too many weapons. The Retribution was tough, but it was not invincible. Paul, can you give me that electromagnetic pulse now? I need 2 more minutes to charge it, Captain. We don't have 2 minutes. An enemy ship exploded nearby. The Retribution had scored another hit. But for every enemy ship they destroyed, 2 more took its place. Captain, Dr. Martinez said, I have an idea. Zephyrions are predictable. They follow formation patterns. If we can break their formation, they'll be confused. How do we break their formation? We do something completely unexpected, something no sane commander would do. Jake smiled. I like it. What do you have in mind? We shut down our engines and let them think we're dead. When they move in to capture us, we restart the engines and attack at close range. It was a crazy plan. If it failed, they would all die. But if it worked, they might have a chance. Do it, Jake ordered. Shut down all non-essential systems. Make it look like we're dead in space. The lights on the bridge dimmed. The engine noise stopped. The Retribution drifted through space like a dead ship. Enemy fleet is slowing down, Ryan reported. They think we're disabled. Good, let them come closer. The enemy ships approached carefully. They were not stupid. They knew humans were tricky. But they also knew that no ship could survive that much damage and keep fighting. They're sending a boarding party, Dr. Martinez announced. 3 ships are moving in to capture us. Jake waited. The enemy ships came closer. They were almost within ramming distance. Now, Jake ordered, the Retribution came alive. The engines roared back to life. The weapons powered up. The ship accelerated toward the nearest enemy vessel, the aliens. Were caught completely off guard. They had no time to react. The Retribution smashed into the first enemy ship. Then it fired its weapons at point-blank range into the second ship. Both enemy vessels exploded. That's 4 down, Ryan reported, but the trick would not work again. The enemy fleet was angry now. They were firing everything they had at the human ship. Shields at 20%, Amy called out. We can't take much more. Paul, where's my electromagnetic pulse? Charging now, sir. 30 seconds. Jake looked at the tactical display. The enemy fleet was closing in. The orbital defense platforms were firing continuously. The Retribution was badly damaged. But they were almost in position. All hands, this is the captain. We're about to use the electromagnetic pulse. It will shut down all our systems for 30 seconds. During that time, we'll be defenseless. But it will also shut down their weapons. Jake paused. After the pulse, we'll have 47 seconds to charge and fire the quantum devastator. That's our only chance. If we miss, we're all dead. The enemy was getting closer. Jake could see their ships on the visual display. They were massive and deadly. Their weapons were glowing with power. Paul, fire the pulse. Firing now, sir. The Retribution's reactor overloaded. A wave of electromagnetic energy spread out from the ship. It hit the enemy fleet like an invisible wall. Ship after ship went dark. Their engines stopped. Their weapons powered down. The orbital defense platforms around the planet also went dark. For a few moments, space was quiet. Pulse successful, Paul reported. Enemy fleet is disabled, but so are we. The Retribution drifted through space. Its engines were dead. Its weapons were offline. The crew worked frantically to restart their systems. Come on, Jake muttered. We need power. Slowly, the ship's systems came back online. The lights flickered on. The engines started. The weapons powered up. Systems restored, Paul announced. We have full power. Jake looked at the tactical display. The enemy fleet was still disabled, but they were starting to come back online too. He could see lights flickering on their ships. Ryan, target the planet. Start the charging sequence for the quantum devastator. Yes, sir, charging now. The main screen showed the planet. It looked peaceful and beautiful, but Jake knew it was full of weapons factories and military bases. It was the heart of the Zephyrian war machine. 47 seconds to firing, Ryan announced. The enemy fleet was waking up. One by one, their ships came back online. They were angry. They were confused. And they were closing in fast. Incoming fire, Amy reported. Multiple enemy ships are targeting us. The space around the Retribution filled with energy beams again. The ship's shields flared as they absorbed the hits. But the shields were already damaged. They would not hold for long. Shields at 15%, Amy called out. 20 seconds to firing, Ryan announced. An enemy ship exploded nearby. Jake was not sure if they had hit it or if it had destroyed itself trying to restart. Its weapons? The battle was chaos now. Ships were firing in all directions. 10 seconds to firing. Jake gripped his command chair. This was it. Everything depended on the next few seconds. If the weapon fired, they would complete their mission. If it did not, they would all die. 5 seconds. The enemy was almost on top of them. Jake could see alien faces on the visual display. They looked angry and desperate. Fire, Jake ordered. The quantum devastator fired. A beam of pure energy shot out from the retribution. It crossed space in an instant. It struck the planet's surface and penetrated deep into the core. Direct hit, Ryan reported. The weapon has penetrated to the planet's core. Jake watched the planet on the main screen. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, cracks began to appear on the surface. The planet was starting to break apart. Mission accomplished, Jake said quietly. But the battle was not over. The enemy fleet was still attacking. And now they were really angry. The planet Kepler 438b began to die. Captain Jake Morrison watched on the main screen as small cracks appeared on the surface. The quantum devastator had done its work. The beam of energy had reached deep into the planet's core and started a chain reaction that could not be stopped. Energy readings are off the charts, reported Dr. Helen Martinez from her science station. The planet's core is becoming unstable. The gravitational field is starting to collapse. Jake felt no joy watching the planet break apart. This was not a victory to celebrate. This was a lesson that had to be taught. The galaxy needed to understand what happened when you threatened humanity. The enemy fleet around them was in chaos. Some ships were still trying to attack the retribution. Others were moving toward the planet, trying to help with evacuation efforts. But it was too late for evacuation. The planet was doomed. Captain, called the communications officer, I'm picking up emergency transmissions from the planet's surface. They're calling for immediate evacuation of all military and civilian personnel. How many people are down there? Jake asked. Dr. Martinez checked her readings. Approximately 210 million. Most are military personnel, but there are also civilians. Workers in the weapons factories, their families. Jake closed his eyes for a moment. 210 million lives. It was a number too big to really understand. But those people had chosen to build weapons of war. They had chosen to support an empire that wanted to enslave the galaxy. Sir, said Lieutenant Commander Ryan Brooks, the planet's magnetic field is collapsing. Solar radiation is starting to strip away the atmosphere. On the screen, the cracks on the planet's surface were getting bigger. They spread like spider webs across the continents. Red-hot magma began to pour out of the cracks. The beautiful blue and green world was turning into a ball of fire. The weapon is working better than we expected, Paul Rodriguez reported from engineering. The planet will be completely destroyed in less than 6 hours. The enemy fleet was becoming more desperate. War leader Zektar's flagship was leading a final attack on the retribution. But many other ships were breaking away from the battle. They were trying to save as many people as possible from the dying planet. Enemy flagship is closing fast, Ryan announced. They're charging all weapons? Let them come, Jake said. Our job is done. Now we document what happens next. The bridge shook as enemy fire hit the ship. The lights flickered. Sparks flew from damaged control panels. But Jake did not order return fire. He was watching the planet die. Captain, Amy Foster called from her station, our shields are almost gone. If we don't fight back, they'll destroy. U.S., our mission was to destroy the planet, Jake replied. The planet is destroyed. Everything else is just details. Another massive crack appeared on the planet's surface. This one went from the North Pole to the South Pole. The planet was literally splitting in half. Chunks of rock and metal began floating away into space. Dr. Martinez was recording everything. The gravitational collapse is accelerating. The planet's rotation is slowing down. The atmosphere is being blown away by solar wind. Jake could see ships fleeing the planet on the long-range sensors. Hundreds of vessels were trying to escape, but there were not enough ships for everyone. Most of the population would die with their world. Sir, the communications officer said quietly. "I'm picking up distress calls from the surface. Families saying goodbye to each other. Children crying for their parents." Jake's jaw tightened. War was never clean. Innocent people always suffered. But the Zephyrian Empire had started this war. They had chosen to threaten human worlds. This was the consequence of that choice. The enemy flagship fired again. This time, the shot penetrated the Retribution's weakened shields. The beam hit the ship's hull directly. Emergency alarms began sounding throughout the ship. "Hull breach on deck 7, Paul reported. "We're losing atmosphere. Emergency bulkheads are sealing." "Casualties?" Jake asked. 12 injured, 3 dead. Jake nodded. Good people were dying, his people. But they had known this might happen when they accepted the mission. On the main screen, the planet was coming apart faster now. Large pieces of the surface were breaking away and drifting into space. The core was exposed in several places, glowing white-hot against the darkness. "The largest weapons factory just collapsed into the planet's core," Dr. Martinez reported. "That facility produced 30% of their plasma cannons." War leader Zektar's voice came over the communications system. He sounded desperate and angry. "Human captain, you have destroyed our world. You have killed millions of innocent people. You are monsters." Jake activated the reply channel. "War leader Zektar, you gave us an ultimatum. Surrender or be destroyed. We chose a third option. We destroyed you first. You could have targeted just the military bases. You did not need to kill the entire planet." "Yes, we did," Jake replied. "Because now everyone in the galaxy will know what happens when you threaten humanity. This is the price of making humans your enemy." The transmission ended. Zektar's flagship moved away from the Retribution. The war leader had given up the attack. He was focusing on saving as many of his people as possible. Jake understood. If Earth was dying, he would do the same thing. But Earth was not dying because humans did not start wars with enemies they could not defeat. "Captain," Ryan said, "most of the enemy fleet is withdrawing. They're focusing on evacuation efforts. Let them go. Our fight is with the planet, not the refugees." The planet's destruction was accelerating. What had started as small cracks was now massive rifts that went deep into the core. The planet's crust was peeling away like the skin of an orange. "Atmospheric pressure at the surface is dropping rapidly," Dr. Martinez announced. "Any people still on the surface will be dead within minutes." Jake watched a group of evacuation ships struggling to escape the planet's gravity well. Some of them made it. Others were caught by falling debris and destroyed. The lucky ones would live to tell the story of what humans had done here. "Sir," Paul called out, "I'm reading massive energy fluctuations from the planet's core. I think it's about to go critical." "How big will the explosion be?" "Big enough to destroy everything within 1,000,000 kilometers, including us." Jake looked around the bridge at his crew. They had done their job. They had completed their mission. The Zephyrian war machine was broken, but now they were going to pay the price. "All hands, this is the captain. The planet is about to explode. We are too close to escape. Prepare for impact." The crew worked calmly at their stations. They had known this was a one-way mission. They had accepted that from the beginning. "Sir," Amy said, "it's been an honor serving with you." "The honor was mine," Jake replied. On the main screen, the planet's core finally gave way. The entire world exploded in a flash of white light. The explosion was so bright that the screen automatically darkened to protect their eyes. The shockwave hit the Retribution like a giant fist. The ship was thrown backwards through space. Hull plates buckled and tore away. The artificial gravity failed. Emergency lights came on as the main power systems overloaded. Jake was thrown from his command chair. He hit the ceiling and then crashed back down to the floor. Around him, his crew was also being tossed around like dolls. The ship tumbled end over end through space. Debris from the destroyed planet hammered against the hull. Some pieces were as big as buildings. The noise was incredible. Then, suddenly, it was quiet. The shockwave had passed. The Retribution was still intact, but barely. Half the ship's systems were offline. The hull was cracked in dozens of places. But they were alive. Jake pulled himself back into his command chair. Blood was running down his forehead from a cut on his scalp. "Damage report," he ordered. "Pulse." Voice came from somewhere in the darkness. "Main power is offline. Life support is running on backup power. We have hull breaches on 12 decks, but the ship is holding together." "Casualties?" "I'm getting reports now, 43 dead. Over 100 injured, but most of the crew is alive." Jake looked at the main screen. Where the planet had been, there was now only an expanding cloud of gas and debris. Kepler 438b was gone, completely destroyed. The heart of the Zephyrian war machine was now just floating rocks. "Mission accomplished," Jake said quietly. Dr. Martinez was checking her instruments. "Captain, I'm reading energy signatures from the debris field. Some of it is radioactive." The explosion scattered the planet's core material across the entire system. "What does that mean?" "It means the system is dead. Nothing will ever live. Here again, the radiation will last for thousands of years." Jake nodded. "That was good. It meant the Zephyrians could never rebuild here. The message would be permanent. Communications, send a message to Admiral Carter. Tell her the mission is complete. KEPLER 438b has been destroyed. The Zephyrian war machine is broken." "Yes, sir." Jake looked around the damaged bridge. His crew was working to repair the systems. They were good people. They had done something terrible today, but it was necessary. The galaxy would be safer because of their sacrifice. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "I'm picking up transmissions from the surviving Zephyrian ships. They're calling. U.S. Devils, planet killers. They're saying humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy." Jake smiled grimly. "Good, that's exactly what we want them to think." The retribution drifted through the debris. News of the planet's destruction spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Within 3 days, every species in the Federation knew what had happened at Kepler 438b. The humans had destroyed an entire world. They had turned a planet into floating rocks and gas. The UFS Retribution limped back to Federation space. The ship was badly damaged. Half the crew was dead or injured, but they were alive. And they had completed their mission. Captain Jake Morrison sat in his damaged command chair and watched the stars go by. His head was bandaged, his left arm was in a sling, but he was still in command of his ship. "Captain," called Dr. Helen Martinez from her science station, "we're receiving messages from Federation Command. They want a full report on what happened." Jake nodded. He had expected this. The Federation leaders would be angry. They would want to know why humans had acted without permission. They would want to punish someone. "Send them our battle logs," Jake ordered. "Send them everything. Let them see exactly what we did and why we did it." The communications officer worked at his station. "Message sent, sir." Jake looked around the bridge. Only half his crew was still alive. The others had died fighting for humanity. They had died. "To send a message to the galaxy." "Sir," reported Lieutenant Amy Foster, "we're getting transmissions from other ships. The news networks want to interview us. They're calling us heroes and monsters." "We're neither," Jake replied. "We're soldiers. We did our job." 3 days later, the Retribution arrived at Federation headquarters. The massive space station orbited a peaceful blue world. It was the center of galactic government. Representatives from hundreds of species worked there to keep peace in the galaxy. But today, there was no peace at Federation headquarters. The station was in chaos. Emergency meetings were being held. Species were taking sides. Some supported the humans. Others wanted them expelled from the Federation. Jake was ordered to report to the Federation Council immediately. He left his ship and took a shuttle to the main station. As he walked through the corridors, he could see the fear in people's eyes. They looked at him like he was a dangerous animal. The Federation Council chamber was packed. Representatives from every member species were there. At the center of the room sat the 5 permanent council members. They looked angry and frightened. Admiral Lisa Carter was waiting for Jake outside the chamber. She looked tired and worried. "Jake," she said, Quietly, they want to arrest you for war crimes. Some species are calling for your execution. I expected that, Jake replied. What about our people? Are they safe? For now. But the political situation is very bad. Half the galaxy is terrified of us. The other half wants our protection. Jake was not surprised. Fear was a powerful motivator. The species that were weak wanted human protection. The species that were strong wanted humans destroyed before they became a threat. What about the Zephyrians? They withdrew their ultimatum 6 hours after news of the planet's destruction reached them. They're requesting immediate peace talks. They don't want to fight us anymore? Jake smiled grimly. The mission had worked. The Zephyrians were backing down, but the cost had been enormous. The council chamber doors opened. Jake walked inside. The room fell silent. Hundreds of alien eyes stared at him. He could feel their fear and anger. The council chairman was a tall, blue-skinned alien named Corvash. He had been in charge of the Federation for 20 years. He was known for his fairness and wisdom. But today he looked angry. Captain Morrison, Corvash said in a deep voice, you stand accused of genocide. You destroyed an entire planet. You killed over 200 million people. How do you answer these charges? Jake stood straight and tall. I completed my mission. Sir, the Zephyrian war machine has been destroyed. Their ultimatum has been withdrawn. The Federation is safe. Safe? Shouted a representative from the Arcturian Republic. You have made the galaxy more dangerous. Now every species will want weapons like yours. You have started an arms race. The arms race started when the Zephyrians issued their ultimatum, Jake replied calmly. We just finished it. Another representative stood up. This one was from the Vegan Confederation. Captain Morrison, your actions violate every law of civilized warfare. You could have targeted just the military installations. You chose to destroy the entire planet. Yes, I did, Jake said. Because destroying just the military bases would not have sent the right message. Now every species in the galaxy knows what happens when you threaten humanity. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Some aliens were shouting for Jake's execution. Others were demanding that humans be expelled from the Federation, but some were silent. They were thinking about what Jake had said. Chairman Corvash called for order. Captain Morrison, do you feel any regret for your actions? Jake thought about the question. Did he regret destroying the planet? Did he regret killing 200 million people? I regret that it was necessary, he said finally, but I don't regret doing it. Those people died so that billions of others could live free. That's a trade I'll make every time. The chamber fell silent again. Jake's words were cold and hard. But they were also honest. Admiral Carter stood up in the gallery. Chairman Corvash, I request permission to address the council. Permission granted, Admiral. Carter walked to the center of the chamber. She looked at each of the council members in turn. Honored representatives, she began, you are angry at Captain Morrison for what he did. You call him a war criminal. You call him a monster. But before you pass judgment, I want you to think about something. She activated a holographic display. It showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked Zephyrian territory. Blue dots marked Federation worlds. 6 months ago, the Zephyrians controlled 12 systems. Today they control 12 systems. They have not expanded their territory by a single planet since news of Kepler 438b's destruction reached them. She pointed to another part of the map. The Rigelian Empire was planning to attack the outer colonies next month. Yesterday they canceled those plans. They don't want to risk facing human retaliation. The display changed to show more data. 17 species have formally requested human protection from aggressive neighbors. Trade routes that were threatened by pirates are now safe. Why? Because everyone knows that humans protect what is theirs. Carter looked directly at Chairman Corvash. Captain Morrison didn't just destroy a planet. He ended 3 wars before they started. He saved millions of lives by taking 200 million. The chairman was silent for a long moment, then he spoke. Admiral Carter, are you saying that humanity's actions were justified? I'm saying that humanity's actions were effective. The galaxy is more peaceful today than it was a week ago. That's not opinion, that's fact. A new voice spoke from the gallery. It was Ambassador Nexon from the Tau Ceti colony. I have a statement to make. Chairman Corvash nodded. Speak, Ambassador. Nexon stood up. He was an old alien with silver skin and wise eyes. The Tau Ceti colony has decided to formally request human protection. We are a peaceful people. We have no weapons, no army, but we have something valuable. We have rare minerals that others want to take from us. He paused. For years we have lived in fear. The Orion Syndicate has threatened us. The Centauri raiders have attacked our ships. We asked the Federation for help, but there were always meetings, always discussions. Never action. Nexon looked at Jake. But now we have hope. The humans have shown that they will act. They will fight. They will protect those who cannot protect themselves. Other voices began speaking from the gallery. More species were requesting human protection. The weak and peaceful worlds saw humanity as their guardian. The aggressive species saw humanity as a threat to be avoided. Chairman Corvash raised his hand for silence. This council will recess for deliberation. Captain Morrison, you will remain in custody pending our decision. The council members filed out to discuss Jake's fate. But Jake was not worried about himself. He was thinking about the future. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans were not the weak species everyone thought they were. They were predators, they were warriors, and they would destroy anyone who threatened them. 2 days later, the council reconvened. Chairman Corvash looked tired. The deliberations had been long and difficult. Captain Morrison, he said, this council finds you guilty of excessive use of force resulting in massive loss of life. You are sentenced to life imprisonment. Jake nodded. He had expected this. The Federation had to punish him to satisfy their own laws, but he noticed something interesting. They had not convicted him of war crimes. They had not expelled humanity from the Federation. However, Corvash continued, this council also recognizes that your actions have brought stability to the galaxy. Therefore, you will serve your sentence on a minimum security facility. You will be eligible for parole in 10 years. Jake almost smiled. 10 years was nothing. And the message had been sent. Admiral Carter spoke from the gallery. Mr. Chairman, I have an announcement. Humanity has begun construction of 12 new ships identical to the UFS Retribution. Each one will be equipped with a quantum devastator weapon system. The chamber erupted in worried voices. 12 planet-killer ships. The galaxy would never be the same. These ships will patrol Federation space, Carter continued. They will protect peaceful worlds from aggressive neighbors. And they will remind everyone that humanity